Yelling at the cat. Great way to start a live show. Hello, everyone. It's time for the Titans Curse live show. I'm super excited because this is one of my favorite books.
Oh my gosh.
I have a feeling that it also might be one of Kinsey's, just knowing Kinsey.
Surprisingly?
Although, we don't get much of your fave in this one.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, this Titan's Curse has always been a touchy one for me.
Yeah? See, I love it. But it also, I love it the same way I love, like, not to be too spoilery, but the way I love Son of Neptune.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much angst and pining in this book. Oh, the pining. Like,
yeah, there is.
And I am a self-proclaimed reunion whore. So.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I literally, like, that's why Mark of Athena is one of my favorite books. All right, let me get this on Twitter so that we have people coming to join us. All right, we'll have on Twitter.
Oh, that's awkward.
So that we have people coming to join us. Oh, God, I hate the sound of my own voice.
That's so awkward. I love it. I'm here for it. Stop whining.
Oh, is Achilles being a whiny, needy baby?
Yeah.
All right, well, that is done. So now I can totally focus on what we're doing here. So, all right. Anyway, so welcome to the Titans Curse live show, guys. Hopefully, we've got a couple of y'all joining us. It would help if I had the chat pulled up, wouldn't it? You guys would like that, if there's anyone there. All single of us. So I am Margaret, and I have the channel The Word Nerd. I can see the chat now. That's great. And I talk about like books and comic books and writing and just all kinds of, you know, anything wordy and nerdy, basically. And then we have the lovely Kinsey Lee T joining us. We won't be seeing Min today because she was not feeling all that great. So we just said, you know what? Take care of yourself. We will see you next time. Feel better. Yeah. But Kinsey, if you want to introduce yourself, maybe give us a shot of the kitty if he's willing.
Sure. I'm Kenzie. My channel is Kenzie Lee T. I mainly, I talk about YA books. Lots of Percy Jackson over on my channel. And I do a lot of like do-it-yourself Funko Pops. But yeah, that's basically me.
Yeah, I heard you have a new DIY Funko Pop video that's going to be up soon. I'm very interested.
I'm so excited. And Min is going to love it. It is her favorite Percy Jackson character.
See, I have not stored that information in my head, so you might just need to text it to me.
In our book that we're talking about today.
Wait, what?
He made his first appearance in the book we're talking about today. Our little goth kid.
Yeah, before he was a goth kid. I'm reading the beginning of it, and I'm just like so torn because like I love him. He's so precious, but at the same time, I'm so hurt because
I know.
He's changed. I'm like, can we have this guy back? Can we have this guy back? Okay, so before we get any further, I'm just going to let you guys know we will be talking about anything from the Titans Curse and backwards, but everything after the Titans Curse is spoilers, and we will not be talking about that. So just know that you can't talk about that if you are in the chat. Don't spoil it down below in the comments if you want to do. Yeah, just don't do that. Be nice. Be a conscientious internet person, as I like to say.
Yes.
So, well, that's exciting.
Yes.
You'll have more for your little Percy Jackson Funko family.
Yeah, I hopefully I'll be able to make all 7 plus some.
Yes.
That's my goal.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, why aren't they Funko Pops already? They really, like, Percy Jackson is iconic.
Honestly.
I know.
Just having this conversation with someone else, and they're like, "Wait, that's not a thing," and I was like, "No," and it pisses me off.
I'm trying to think of Funkos that are like, they are not TV shows, but they're also based on books, because the only ones I can think of are like Hunger Games and Game of Thrones, but those both have like more like visual media attached to them as well. But I feel like there are.
I think they just released, or they're planning on releasing in like 2019, Saga Funko Pops. From
those still are like they're comic books though, so
that's the thing. Like, yeah, it's a challenge for us book people.
I know, it's so frustrating. It just makes me mad. I want my Percy Jackson Funko Pops.
Yes,
as nice as the handmade ones are. There's still just something about being able to be like, hey, look, there's Annabeth. Oh yeah, there's Harry Potter. But those have, hello Melissa. Again, those have like they had the movies, because Funko I don't think was a thing before the movies.
Yeah.
All right, we have Melissa with us. Hello, hello, hello. Let me retweet this on the official page real quick, because I'm a mess and I do that kind of thing. All right, so I think you were saying that this is kind of a touch and go book for you, Kenzie. Do you have any like, why is that?
No, I think even when I started this book, I was like I was going in like, you know what, I'm gonna love it this time. Everyone, you and Min are like, this is your book, so I was like, okay.
Oh no, it's not, but go ahead.
I'm being so positive about Titan's Curse that it's just, we got this. But reading it again, I honestly think that the reason that I don't enjoy this one as much is because it's
a tough one.
Percy gets attacked a lot, like emotionally. Why is everyone doing this to my child? Like, no! He doesn't deserve this. Oh my gosh. And I think I also get like, I remember something that like irked me so much is that the hunters, like I love the hunters. I really do. But when they first are introduced and they like, Bianca joins them, I was like, bitch, like you haven't even seen Camp Half-Blood. Like, why are you making hasty decisions?
Oh, Bianca is a whole subject that I want to get into at some point, because like there's so much, especially with what you're talking about right now. Ugh.
And then
I go ahead.
Gets to me and oh my gosh, there's just so much that happens in this book and it hurts me.
I mean, this is the book where things start to get really, it's depending on which one you have, it is this guy, because I am trash for Percy Jackson, so I've got both sets. Oh, or it's this guy. This is the book where things really take a turn, and like, you know how with Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire is that turning point book where everything starts to get darker. This is the book. We have not one, but 2 deaths in this book, and I don't think we've had a real character death before Titan's Curse. So, like, I was trying to remember, like, no, but not even the bad guys die in Lightning Thief or Sea of Monsters.
Yeah, no.
Like, the closest we get is Sally Jackson, but she's not actually dead.
Right.
I mean, granted, Lightning Thief does start really dark. But one of the things, funny that you mentioned, Percy, one of the things I really liked is that it wasn't so much in Sea of Monsters, but I remember I mentioned it in Lightning Thief, but we really get to see how emotionally smart Percy is and how he kind of he can figure things out. Like, he's figuring things out through this whole book that I'm sitting there going, everyone gives him crap for being dumb. Like, Zoe makes a comment, I'm like, he's not that dumb!
Yeah, I know!
But he's also, like, really, really smart when it comes to people. Like, because he figures out that Talia is afraid of heights, and he figures out what's going with Zoe Nightshade. And he figures out that frickin', like, he has adjusted so much by this book, because Apollo just poof appears next to him in the car, and he's just like, oh, yep. Had a feeling you'd be there.
Yeah, I know. Ugh. Yeah, I definitely think that this book it's such a growth for Percy's character. Which,
yes.
I love it, but like, why do we have to hurt him in the process of it?
Yeah, it's funny because there is very little Annabeth in this, and you would think it would be my least favorite book because there's so little of Annabeth. But he is just so hardcore, like, thinking about Annabeth the entire time. I'm just like, so purple is my ship color, this purple. I have 2 different purples, but this one is my purple. But I have, like, entire pages that are highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad.
Yeah, I think I remember, like, when I first, because this book has always been that one, like, this is the one that I've reread the least amount.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've read the whole series like 9 times. I'm going on my 10th. And I think I've only read the Titan's Curse like 4 out of those 9 times. I remember what happens. We'll just skip it. Like, and it's always been because like my excuse was, well, Annabeth's not in it, so I don't really like it. But like now, like looking back at it, I'm like, that's not the reason, because like Son of Neptune is one of my favorite books. So like, no spoilers-ish, but yeah, so it's definitely not the reason, but like...
We're in a different camp in that book, so we don't see as much of our regular camp half-blood characters. That's what she's saying. That's funny. Yeah, I know. Like, I like the hunters, and I like that they're really true to Artemis's myth. Although, I need to look this up, because Apollo keeps calling Artemis younger sister. But if I remember my Greek mythology right, Artemis was actually born first. I meant to look this up in my D'Aulaire's Book of Greek Myths. Maybe I'll look it up later. And
remember which one? Because
I am pretty dang sure. You know what? We're going to Google this.
I'm Googling it right now. First. Apollo. Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot of people want to know the answer to this question. Along with his older twin sister! Older twin sister! Take that, Riordan!
Yep.
Like, it's mentioned twice, and it bugs the crap out of me.
I never even, like... I don't think I've studied Artemis and Apollo's mythology a lot, so I didn't even, like...
See, before Percy Jackson, Artemis was my favorite. I loved her. Don't know why. I have no, because she's so, like, she and Athena are so far from, like, my personal, like, I would never want to be single forever. I might be, but I would never want it to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why the hunters just kind of bugged me a little bit in this book, because they're so in places anti-man.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want to be that person that's, like, not all men, but, yeah, see, Melissa's the same. She's like, oh, yeah, Bianca should have lasted longer.
I freaking agree!
But then we wouldn't have our small goth child.
Still! I know, I was thinking about that this morning, like, as I was, like, making myself breakfast. I was like, gosh dang it, like, she's gone. And then I was like, Rick, why did you do this to me? And then I was like, wait. It all makes sense. Like, I understand it as a writer, but, like, no.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, the hunters just kind of bugged me this time around, because, like, I can understand being wary of men in general. But to, like, attack Percy just because he's a boy, and to, like, that's very sexist. And it bugs me because, like, there are decent guys out there, and Percy is one of them.
Percy is freaking #1 on every list ever.
Dick Grayson exists, so.
Oh, no, Percy. Oh my God. I can't. He will always be #1.
I can feel that. I can feel that. But speaking of Bianca, so that was an interesting character to get brought in. And like, I love the reveal at the end that they're Hades' kid. I mean, you knew, kind of.
Right.
But did I know the first time I went through this? I think I went into this only knowing that like Percy and stuff about Percy and Annabeth. So I don't know. I don't think I knew until I guessed it towards the end. But like at the beginning, I didn't know.
I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Melissa Rose is like, I can't crush on Percy because he would be my half brother. I can't crush on Percy because he is half my age.
Nope, I ignore all that.
I mean, if he was actually born when he would have had to have been born, technically he is not jailbait. But still.
Nope. I luckily aged with Percy, like, as I read the series.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Nope. He's aging with me. Everything is, we're good.
Yep, we're good. Yeah, I tend to, like, adopt, like, characters like that. They're my son. I have many children at this point in my life. But okay, so I need to get this rant out. I am so pissed at Bianca for leaving her brother behind. And I get her reasoning, and I get that it is unfair to expect the older sibling to forever take care of their younger sibling. I understand that. Right. But as an older sibling with a younger brother, you would not, like, no, that's my brother. I'm going to take care of my freaking brother. I don't care how frustrating it is.
That was exactly my reaction, because I have a little brother too, and I'm the oldest, and so I was like, I was just thinking about it. I was like, no, like, even if it was my sole responsibility to just care for my little brother, I couldn't just be like, you know what, I'm just not feeling it. Like, we're done. Sorry, dude. Like, bye. I'm gonna go hunt monsters now. I mean, I want that, but like with him, I guess.
Yeah, like that would be a deal breaker for me. That would be a deal breaker. I wouldn't. I mean, granted, we do have a closer relationship now than we did probably at that age. But like, I can't, like, as an older sibling, it's kind of like,
it's just, no,
it's your job.
Part of like your instinct. Like you are there to take care of them. Like that's like your one sole purpose as an older sibling. Like that, I was so angry.
I know. And this gets it, like I said, it is not fair to because I've watched stuff and be like, it's unfair that this older sibling has to take care of their younger siblings, but at the same time, like, you got to applaud it, and I would do the same thing.
Right. I
would not do what Bianca did.
Right. And it's not like they don't have like a close relationship. Like if they like didn't even know about each other, I'd be like, okay, you know what? I get it. Like, fine.
If they were like a certain other set of siblings that we know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we don't get to see that much of their relationship, honestly, between Bianca and Nico, because they're only together for like a very short amount of time. So we have no idea what their relationship is like, but it's just like,
right.
Oh, they're sibling.
Right.
I would have been interested to see. I mean, she does. Yes, Melissa agrees with us. I love it. See, I wonder if Rick has any siblings, and if he does, where he fits on that scale. Because I have another friend that she wrote a book where the older sibling is absolute trash. It's a Hamlet retelling. It is amazing. You should read it. It's called A Wounded Name. But we all know that Laertes is trash. Basically, just worst oldest sibling. And I texted her about that, and she didn't quite understand why I was so pissed that he was being such a crap older sibling. Yeah. And I think she's the youngest of 3. So
I'm looking if he has any family members right now.
We're stalking Rick Riordan. Poor Rick Riordan. I'm so sorry. We love you, except when you're doing mean things to our favorite characters. Oh, man. But, like, I mean, I did like her growth.
It doesn't say.
I I would have liked to see, what would have happened if they had gotten back to the camp.
Yeah.
And if she had made it through the whole book or through the whole series. I would have liked to see that.
I do too.
But also
her character growth would have been really interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
We never get that opportunity now, Rick.
I mean, we brought Hazel back. Never mind, that's a spoiler. Just forget I said that, guys.
But even then, like, I know we're not going to talk about it.
Now I'm sad.
No.
Now I'm sad. This is fun. I'm excited to talk about Percy Jackson, and now I'm sad. So so let's bring this up. Kenzie, what was your favorite part of this book? Do you have a favorite part?
Okay, well,
despite it being your least favorite.
Yes, I have several. I always have several favorites. Like, I don't think I can ever actually just choose a favorite.
Tell me. Let's go. I love talking about favorite parts.
I love the scene where they're at the Smithsonian. Like, just that whole, like, fight scene. Like, that is... Yes. It's so... I love it.
Yeah. Whoop.
And then, okay, so Smithsonian.
That's a great scene.
That is a great scene. I also love the dam scene. How can you not like the dam scene?
Hold on, where is it? I have it highlighted, guys.
The scene.
Holy crap! There's a lot of purple in this. Let's see. I highlighted that entire thing, and it's so funny because I found it funny every time, but I didn't actually get why it was so funny until I read what, I guess I missed what Zoe said every other time because she doesn't know she's cussing.
I know! That's what's so precious about it! Oh. It's like that one joke in this fandom that, like, no matter what. Like,
everyone.
Yeah, you could tell, like, a very, like, complicated, like, super thought out Percy Jackson joke, but then all you have to do is mention, hey, I want some damn fries, and you're like, it's like you have died and you've been resurrected. Like, that is the funniest thing you could ever say.
I need to use the damn bathroom. Yes, I love it. Like you will get more laughs for that than anything else. Oh my gosh. I know I highlighted it, but I can't find it. But like, you notice Percy doesn't say it at all. It's all Grover and Talia.
Oh my, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I did. I noticed that this time. That was really weird.
That's so funny.
But my favorite part is is when they finally get to see each other again, and they're like, well, actually, it's probably not that. My favorite part is probably when they're dancing and Athena has made everything awkward.
Oh, Athena is so good at that.
Like,
that woman. I'm just kidding. Like, yeah, no lightning. Like, everything's fine.
I was just like, seriously, you cock blocker, Athena. Why?
Yeah. It's pretty.
It's the reason we have a bit long. Like, stuff was about to go down, and she had to open her big fat mouth. So, anyways,
I just love, like, this isn't my favorite book, but I love so much about it.
That's okay. Like, all of these are 5 stars, but my favorite is like The Last Olympian because, for obvious reasons, for those of you that have read it. I want to backtrack though to the Nemean Lion real quick because I noticed something that was really funny to me. And it's that 1 minute they're fighting the Nemean lion in the middle of the Smithsonian, you know, and then the next minute they're taking the subway. Yeah. I just love like that. Like that juxtaposition has never hit me like that before, where it's like, oh, like he just meshes the mortal world with the immortal world so well. Like he has all these great little tiny details that like it'll be a toy rat, but suddenly the toy rat is being resurrected by Pan. Like it's just, it just hit me a lot more, this book.
It's beautiful. He's a great writer. Praise be on to Rick.
Yeah, he's so clever. Like, he's the reason that I am in awe of middle grade writers, and why I think YA is such a valid, a valid genre, I guess, although YA really isn't a genre. But, like, because middle grade authors and YA authors, they have to tell the exact same story as, like, an adult fantasy author would tell. So the closest I can come to, like, that would be like, this would be like the Harry Dresden Files. So Jim Butcher, he's telling the same story that Jim Butcher would have to tell, but he has significantly fewer words. So he has to be much more clever with his wording. Yeah. It's just, it's so good. It's so good.
And he can't, like, he has to be clever, but then he also has to make it relatable to the children.
Yeah.
He has to find, like, because, like, as an adult reading any sort of, like, urban fantasy, like, they can spew words at you and you'll be like, okay, I don't
understand what's going on here.
I get it. But then, like, Rick, he's pulling out those descriptions that are like, oh my God, yes, like, hashtag relatable, son. Like,
I know, like, yeah, that's one of the things I like about YA and about middle grade is that the things are so, like, relevant to where we are now. It's not like some random, just, this. Yeah. Like, I love that, and I'm sure it's in adult fiction as well. No shade to adult fiction. I see a lot more of it in YA and in middle grade. Yeah. Especially, like, the more, like, urban fantasy. Right. I love it. I love it. Oh. And I love this book so much. I'm sorry, my brain is short-circuiting because all I can think is that I love this book so much. Because I do. What was it? There was something, I really like how he brings in, like, these subtle lessons, too. Like, that's the one, that the whole thing with Hercules and how sometimes your heroes can let you down. Like, sometimes the people, like, can, people that you look up to, they're not perfect people.
Right.
And stay people. And the last couple days on Twitter, but, like, I really like that he's putting that in for younger kids, because I think that's something that we really struggle with in our society today.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was it, like, even just with the whole, like, scene on the rooftop with, like, Dionysus.
Yeah.
It's just, like, giving the reasons, like, why he doesn't like heroes. I was like, yeah, like, looking back at all of the mythology, like, these guys were jackass.
Like, most of them, yeah. I mean, if I remember correctly, Theseus didn't have a choice. In the actual mythology, I think someone threatened him, or Dionysus decided he liked Ariadne. But, it's a kid's book. Melissa was pointing out that, like, middle grade and YA authors have to, like, also have to be, like, clear, but they can't use, like, as much cussing, especially middle grade. They have to stay clean and be no cussing, and, like, watch what they're actually putting in their books. Although, I mean, there's a lot that they put in these books that's just.
I know. I was actually noticing that, like, so right now I'm studying creative writing at college, and
smart move. I should have done that.
And my classes are all, it's a very literary fiction shit. And, you get classmates, and in their stories, every sentence, I swear to every god on this planet, has a form of cuss in it. And I'm just like, okay, like, I'm just, like, thinking, like, okay, what would your story be without cussing, guys? Because, like, this is how you're building your character, because you guys don't know how to do anything else with your character. That's really bad. Everyone's we all have our talents.
But yours apparently is not writing without cussing.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't mind cussing in my books. I don't mind cussing.
No.
Cuss myself. I'm like, I don't cuss on my channel because I want it accessible to everyone, and I know how some people are raised, like how I was raised. But like at the same time, there is such thing as oversaturation, and there's a point where it's hampering your intelligence of the story because you're using it as a crutch. It's like using very all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that you're right, Melissa. Just like it's amazing to see how the stories are told without just like and just like the creative ways that YA authors and middle grade authors create that cussing.
Like the damn fries.
Yeah, damn fries.
Oh my gosh, I wonder how many parents had to have conversations with their children because of that dialogue.
I hope every single parent had to, just so I am satisfied.
Yeah. And what's interesting, and I know they've especially pointed out with Neil Gaiman's work, is that sometimes kids can handle heavy stuff better. Like in fiction, not necessarily in life, but in fiction, they can handle it better than the adults because to kids, like they're reading this and this is a fun adventure and it's awesome and they're not really paying attention to the fact that 2 people died in this book. And then there's me going, these children, who's making these children hurt so much? Or there's me reading the series of unfortunate events. It's a hard one to read as an adult. Like I thought it was fantastic as a kid. But as an adult, I'm just sitting there going, I understand the foster care system is not the greatest.
Oh no.
What care system?
I missed all of that.
You missed? Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah.
Did you get this far as series of unfortunate events to the fact that it bugged me? Okay.
Yes.
I was just talking. I just said that it's interesting to see what adults pick out versus what kids pick out and what kids focus on. And stop hurting my children.
I was noticing that because, like, thinking back on like past reads of this book, I was like, I don't really think that it was sad when Bianca and Zoe died, but I was like, I wasn't really that bothered about it. And like, even going into this book, I was like, okay, like, yeah, bad things happen. But then like, as soon as I heard the prophecy, I was like, shit, bad things happen. Like, oh my God, people are dying. This isn't okay. And I'm just thinking, like, why was I like okay about this when I was a kid? Like, 2 people died, Kenzie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like I was always more choked up about Bianca dying than Zoe, because Zoe, you kind of get this idea that she's kind of done.
Right.
Like, she's ready to rest. She's done being immortal. And it's kind of like a sense of release. It's, she didn't get to grow old or any of that, which I think is a very valuable thing to do. But Bianca is hard.
Right. Well, and then you start to think about like Nico, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Everything's just falling apart around me, and I'm still here.
Yep. Oh my gosh. So yeah, such a hard. All right, let's see if we can find some happy. Let's talk about something happy, which is the absolute. Can we talk about how Rick is able to keep the Perkabeth going, despite the fact that our faves don't have very little interaction in this book? Like, very little interaction. I think we see them at the very beginning and the very end that they get to be together and like actually interact and talk. And then through the rest of it, it is just solely carried on Percy pining.
I know. It's amazing.
I love my trash son so much.
Oh.
Oh, it's amazing, and I love it. It is fantastic. Trying to find the form that I had last time, because we actually, I don't have a prize pack already put together. Melissa said that she was, this year, her reading these books was making sure that she didn't wear any mascara.
Yeah.
So, I feel that one. I don't go to church wearing mascara for that very reason, because I cry at church a lot. I don't cry reading books. It's a failing. But it does hurt.
Oh yeah, no. I know.
But
I'm much of a crier. Okay.
But yes. Do you have, okay, my favorite moment is probably the dance. Is that also your favorite Perkabeth moment?
Yes.
Yes. Because it's the only one we've got. Although, I mean, on the one hand, I feel like we should be mad at Aphrodite for making things difficult, but at the same time, Aphrodite feeds us so well.
Oh, so well.
So well. Like, she's like, oh yeah, I've got, let me see if I can find it. Because she's talking about all of the stuff that she has. Oh, there we look at that. I opened right to it. Because I love it. She's like, I'm not going to let this be easy and boring for you. No, I have some wonderful surprises in store. Anguish, indecision. Oh, you just wait. I'm like, that's exactly how it feels to write a book.
Mm-hmm. I remember, what was it? I don't want to be spoilery, but like, okay, I remember reading House of Hades and just like thinking like, Aphrodite, you? Oh.
See, I'll make that connection until now.
Oh no!
Oh. Am I back?
Yes. Good?
Okay. How?
Oh no. Wait. Wait.
You actually get. Oh, you're back. You're good.
I'm good. Are we good? Are we?
Yeah.
Ah! Yeah? No? No! Are we good?
I think I can see you moving again, so that's good.
So okay.
Right, how much of that did you actually get?
None. None.
No? None of it? Okay. I was just saying that, like, I finished it about 3:30, and this is I put together, things that I can't say without getting turned into a toad or something. I don't know what Aphrodite turns her people into. But yeah, she feeds us so well.
She does.
She does. But Melissa brought up the fact that the friendships in this book are a really great, strong point, especially between Percy and Grover. I like that we got to see more interaction between them and them working together.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, I do think yeah. Man, yes, you are right.
Melissa is right. I feel like maybe this is more Grover's book than I like. We talk about Sea of Monsters like it's Grover's book, but I think this is more Grover's book than Sea of Monsters book, because he was such an integral part of what's going on and like searching things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bianca calling Percy the deformed acorn.
I would definitely count this more as Grover's book than Sea of Monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, there's more.
And then we get to have that wonderful love-hate friendship between Talia and Percy.
That stresses me out. It's so stressful. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, it's so stressful. Every time. Like, I love Thalia. But I don't like her in this book.
She like, I could understand it a little bit because she's only been awake for a few months. Her entire world has been turned upside down. Someone who she thought was her best friend, someone who clearly she was in love with, is now on the other side.
Right.
And she's having to deal with this crazy little upstart who should be way younger than she is. And her other best friend goes missing. Like, Talia is having a time in this book.
Having a hard time. I don't want her to pick on Percy.
Hey, listen, I love Percy Jackson, but he does do some of that picking himself. Like, he is equally at fault for some of that stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about. Percy's perfect.
I mean, he is perfect, but he also is a little shit sometimes.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, he's my favorite one.
Hands down. Hands down. Yeah, no, there is a lot of nitpicking. Nitpicking? That's not the word I'm looking for. There is a lot of back and forth between the two, and it's both of their faults. But it just, and I know that. It's just stressful. Like, I don't like reading about, like, people who should be friends fighting. Like, I am here for the rainbows and the sometimes very dark, but, like, overall happiness. So having them, like, them bickering is just, like, sometimes it got, like, to the point where I was like, you guys, you're literally agreeing on the same thing, but you're not, like, seeing, like, you're just saying different words. And I was like, okay, you have to just, come on. And then I was like, okay, if Annabeth was here, they would be fine. Like, there wouldn't be. Okay,
listen, if my girl had been there, she would have whacked both of them upside the head and told them to get over themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing that frustrated me so much, because I was like, you guys would be getting along if Annabeth was here. Like, she would tell you to stop being annoying and just deal with each other.
I feel like they'd have a lot easier time. I feel like Melissa said that Talia was annoying for her. I feel like she was less annoying for me this time than she has been in the past. But I feel like if Annabeth had been there, like when Percy and Talia started getting to each other's throats, Annabeth would have been like, but they're right. Like, you need to shut up because they're right. Like, she would have just ended all arguments. We wouldn't have had, like, Talia hitting him with a lightning bolt and him trying to drown her, because Annabeth would have just been like, you're both idiots, stop.
Exactly. Yes.
I did. One of the
frustrated me so much. But
yeah. Melissa says that Annabeth would be the big sister and fix Talia and Percy's issues, which is really honestly very sad because Talia is older than Annabeth. Although Annabeth is older than Percy. But what was I going to say? Oh, it was really interesting to see how Percy reacted to the very same kind of situations, like between Talia knowing more and Annabeth knowing more, but how, and like Annabeth calling him Seaweed Brain and Talia calling him Seaweed Brain, but how different he has a reaction to Annabeth doing those things versus Talia doing those things.
Okay, when Talia called Percy Seaweed Brain for the first time, and he was like, you know, it's okay.
Only one time.
It's okay. Oh, right. It's okay when Annabeth calls me it, but like, I was like, my boy, you loyal to a T, hun.
I just turned out. I can't talk. I'll have to tell you about this one when we get off, because this is technically Mark of Athena spoilers. But I was looking at the fact that he's like, if she'd been down in the sea, I would have felt her down there. And I was just like, this will come in handy later when there are Romans involved. I'll explain it if you're having a hard, if he's like, but yeah, and I think also part of it is how they approach it, because Annabeth she just knows more. And I noticed this time around reading The Lightning Thief, that when she's like, there's a very little bit at the beginning where she's a little snotty about the fact that she knows more, but then from then on, like through the rest of Lightning Thief and the rest of Sea of Monsters, she just accepts that Percy doesn't know it necessarily as much, and so she's willing to clarify, but she's not like lording it over him that she knows, whereas Talia was kind of teasing him, I think, with the fact that she knew. Not to say I don't love Talia.
No.
I especially in the last book, she just is great.
Exactly. No, I love her. Like, I have fangirled over her in every other book except this one. Like, I like
when she's not picking on Percy.
Exactly. I liked her, but at the same time, I was like, you are so frustrating. And like, and I know that half of it is Percy's fault, but like, you're the older person. You need to step aside and be like, Percy, shut up. Like, we get it. Or just agree that you guys are agreeing to the same damn thing. Like,
well, that's interesting that you bring that up, that she's older, because is she, though, is the question, because her body has aged, but has her mind aged in the time she was in the tree? Like, I don't think that's something that we cover, whether or not she remembers being a part of the tree.
Yeah.
Because, like your body and your mind are supposed to mature at a similar, but there are so many places where they don't. I was having this conversation with someone else on Twitter about another character who is supposed to be like, it's a comic book character that is supposedly like a 1,000-year-old teenager. And we were having the discussion about the fact that, well, if she has been stuck with the mind and body of a teenager, it doesn't matter how old she is, like chronologically, biologically, and mentally, she is still a teenager.
Right. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So maybe Talia, even though she's like in a almost 16-year-old's body, she still has the mentality of a 12-year-old, I think, is how old she was.
Yeah. I guess I never thought about that.
Yeah, I hadn't either until this very moment. Like, not about her, at least.
Right. Mine.
So, but yeah, that is okay. Here's what I really was I wanted to talk about. So, in the train, when because this just hit me, and because I'm reading this, I am reading A Court of Wings and Ruin, which also has immortal beings, and I'm reading. I just started Lady Midnight, which also has immortal beings in it, and so I was noticing a theme in this that, like, because Apollo mentions that mortal lives, or no, Percy was talking about the fact that compared to to the gods, mortal lives are so insignificant because they're so short compared to an immortal life. And I was just thinking about the fact that I don't think we ever see in fiction immortals that really, except maybe Twilight. Where immortals really
there.
where immortals like actually value the mortal lives. You don't see a lot of that. They're always like, oh, well, your lives are so small compared to ours, of course we're not going to pay as much attention to that. Versus where, like, it's so much shorter. Why wouldn't you think it's more rare? Why wouldn't you think it's something that should be protected? Like, we will protect our animals even though they have significantly shorter lifespans compared to us.
Right.
So that was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Like, yeah, like,
I don't know any books where that's a big deal, where, like, the fact that mortals have short lives is an asset versus, no, wait. Oh, no, wait, I'm thinking of The Last Olympian. I was going to say, I think I can think of, but no, yeah, it's Percy Jackson. The one example.
Yeah, I do notice that is a common theme. Like, I think that, and as you like talk about it, like, that is kind of interesting because, yeah, like, I just don't, like, I agree. Like, I just don't know how to, like, voice my opinion on this.
I just, like, if anyone is watching this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it later, like, if you can think of books where immortal beings actually value human life because it's short rather than dismissing it, comment down below, because that's just, like, that was kind of mind-boggling to me. Yeah. I was just like, whoa. Wow. Huh.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
And like I said, the closest I can come to that being a thing is Twilight, because Edward is so obsessed with protecting Bella.
Yeah.
The one thing Twilight did right.
Oh, Twilight. Oh, Twilight.
Yeah, and Melissa's with us. Yeah, I just like I'm sitting there going through my Harry Dresden Files might be similar.
And I feel like even if like a book, you know, has immortal beings and something about, like, you know, that discussion of like immortal versus being like mortal comes into play, it's always the mortal who is like, no, like, we actually matter. Like,
yeah,
our lives are important. And, you know, you don't see a lot of the immortals being like,
yeah,
your life's totally important, except in freaking Twilight.
Where's Chandler? We need to. She's doing her own live show right now, but Chandler would be living for this. Oh. But yeah, that was I was just like, whoa! I've never thought of that before. It's so wasteful.
Yeah.
And that's especially funny considering like immortals will be like into gardening and stuff, and just, like Demeter's all about her plants, but no, the humans don't deserve anything. And then Hades doesn't want people to die, but that's because the underworld is overcrowded.
I am Hades. I'm gonna be like real, like.
I mean, listen, Hades is actually of the three.
I can have my own personal space, okay? Like.
Yeah, Hades is probably the most misunderstood Greek god.
Yeah,
there is.
I agree. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like.
Well, and I first time reading this series, you know, I had my appreciation for Hades, like, freaking grew through the roof. Mm-hmm. And then I remember going back and watching the Disney Hercules. Like, you guys just don't understand. Like, Hades is just really misunderstood. Like, he's not the bad guy here. Like, come on, guys. Like, it's okay.
Like, I think in the mythology, the worst thing he does is kidnap Persephone.
Right.
And if I am, like, I feel like there are versions where, like, I don't know, but, like, he doesn't fool around like his two younger siblings do. As far as we know, I mean, like, obviously Nico and Bianca are a thing here, and, like, he has kids in Rick Riordan's universe. But from what I remember in the mythological universe, like, he was faithful to Persephone, even though he did kidnap her. And so, like, and that's interesting because it shows what a respect the ancient Greeks had for Hades and for death. Pulled that one out of my ass.
Go write a paper now. Like, I want to do this essay.
No, I already did that on the, is it the Oresteia that has Agamemnon in it? Whichever one is the trilogy that has Agamemnon in it, I had to write a paper on that one. And I pulled so much out of my ass on that.
Me writing any paper.
Yeah, I know. Basically, it would just be me, like, saying what I thought it said and then finding quotes that supported my. Although for the Greek, my Greek paper, I actually pulled out all the quotes I wanted and then figured out how to make those a paper.
I respect that.
I had so much fun doing that one. Oh, this one won't stand. Why will you not stand? There we go. So, but yeah. Oh, okay. Let's see. Is there anything else? Speaking of Hades, that twist though at the end, and the fact that, like, he wanted players in the game. Like, I mean, we just talked about how he's better than his siblings, but clearly he's not, because he brought his children out of
right.
the Lotus Casino so that they could be a part of this great prophecy thing.
Although
go ahead.
I do appreciate, like, I do remember thinking, like, you know, there was like a part of me that was like, especially like the first time I was reading this, just thinking like, you know, he still like protected his kids though. Like,
yeah,
out of all of the gods, like he put his kids in a safe place,
environment. Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, and you know, eventually, yeah, he took them out and was like, okay, guys, like, come on, let's go. But like, he still kept them safe for so long and like made sure that they weren't gonna. So, I mean, yes, I do like tisk on you for like putting your kids in the game, but like A+ work for like keeping them safe.
Yeah.
Safe.
Yeah, you have to admit that he did like, oh, they're such crappy parents. Melissa's asking if we thought about doing readathons for the other Rick Riordan series after this one. We have thought about it. We will see when we have those. We'll see. We'll know more about that when we get to the last Olymp. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, and something that I thought was really interesting, because we talk about the Chosen One mythology a lot, and like you have Harry Potter and all of that. And so, like, you have that conversation of how do you decide who the Chosen One is. And one of the things that really hit me this time is that Percy chooses to be the Chosen One.
Yeah.
If you remember, it's at the very end of the book, guys. That's the Battle of the Labyrinth, because, and it's on page 310, and he goes, no, I choose the prophecy. It will be about me. Like, it's not just that the prophecy has chosen him, but he's choosing the prophecy. And I thought that was a really nice twist on the Chosen One mythology.
Yeah, and I also think that shows a lot about like Percy's loyalty.
Mm-hmm. His fatal flaw.
Yes. Like and I think that having him like say this is about me really made it more like this will be your fatal flaw. Like this, It has to be, because you just decided that you were going to save everyone else. Mm-hmm. Instead of let it be whoever it needs to be.
Yeah, that you were going to be the one to pay the price rather than like walking away from it. Because with Nico in play, he could have walked away from it.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting juxtaposition to Talia, who decides that she's going to walk away. She's not going to be the Chosen One and the one that the prophecy is about.
Yeah. Yeah. I did like seeing the like differences and similarities between Thalia and Percy.
Yeah.
Like just to see like, I mean, granted, they're both very different people, but like just seeing how like all of these children of the big three, like they're all the same, but then there's just like these slight differentiations between them.
Yeah.
Them who they are. And you really see that in this book.
Yeah, you do, especially since Nico is still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for most of this book, and like eager and into mythology. And like, I mean, this particular Nico, I feel like he would take up the quest to be the Chosen One in a heartbeat. He'd just be like, yes, like at the very beginning of the story.
Hands down.
Hands down. He was like, oh yeah, this would be a fun adventure. My son.
That sweet, precious boy.
Oh, like I wasn't even a big. This is a very, like, I didn't really care about him until we got to the next series. Like, he was an interesting character to me, but like it didn't really hurt me what happened to him until we got into the next series.
Yeah.
And then I was attached to him because he was from this series, and I was like, give me more.
Yeah. I think reading the Titan's Curse at the end of it, I like really felt for him. But then like as this series continues, I was kind of like, okay, like I don't have a problem with you, but like you're just kind of there for me. Like you're cute, yeah, whatever. But like, okay. And then we got into Heroes of Olympus, and I was like, oh, hello. Like,
oh, this is my son.
I will gladly take you in and cuddle you and make sure that you are okay and safe constantly.
Yes. But yeah, that is interesting what the difference is between the three of them in regards to what choices they make and how things go for them. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about their parents, because Hades is already very dark. Zeus is already trying to problem and kind of just ignore the problem until it goes away. And Poseidon is the only one. And I wonder if Rick did this on purpose, because Poseidon is the only one that's like trying to head on, like, go at this problem. Because even from Sea of Monsters, she's like, yeah, we believe you about Kronos and we need to do something about it. But that brother of mine.
Right.
So.
Well, I think that, like, those characteristics, even like looking at their parents, looking at the children, like, it's interesting then to see, and this is totally like the English, like, let's analyze everything part of me coming in, but like then to see like how those characteristics play into the elements or whatever that they control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because I mean, even and how like Rick describes those certain things, you know, their certain powers and their elements, like, it follows those characteristics that they're following and that their parents are following. So it's Rick.
Interesting. Man, now I want to go sit and like do an analysis of all of their parents' powers and then but there's one more thing I want to talk about, unless you have more that you want to talk about, and then we can kind of like say bye to everybody. But Annabeth's dad I love him, like, best parental save in fiction.
Ever.
Like, Annabeth's just going, that's my dad.
No.
What? Ow. What is happening? Like, her work, like, she doesn't bat an eye at, like, the Hydra or at the fact that Percy's new friend is a Cyclops in the last book, or, like, but her dad in an airplane is, like, just foreign to her.
I know. I love it. Oh,
that was...
Gosh. Yeah.
I
remember, like...
I want more of him.
So much. And reading it, like, you can't help but, like, fall in love with him. Like, you're just like, yes! Like, this is what I needed! You and Sally Jackson now need to team up and defeat the world, like...
Okay, so almost all of my purple tabs went to Percy and Annabeth moments, or mostly Percy pining over Annabeth moments, but we did get one for Frederick and his wife, whose first name we don't know, when she's like, honestly, you'd lose your head if it weren't wrapped inside your aviator hat. I'm just like, I love these two. This is my new OTP. Like, I mean, obviously, Percy and Annabeth are tops, but that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Yes, Melissa. Annabeth and her dad were amazing, and it was so great, and I want more of him.
Yeah, I do too. And just, like, to see how their relationship then works. Like, I'm so intrigued.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking about the fact that I was actually really sad. I can't say that because it's a spoiler. Dang it. Never mind. I'll tell you later because we're about to wrap up. But yeah, I want another series focusing. I guess I could say I want another series focusing on the Roman camp because of things that were mentioned in this one.
Yeah.
And things that we know.
Yes.
So I would be totally fine with seeing the events of later books rehashed.
Yeah.
In the Roman camp.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of later books, there was, okay, I have always loved the Stolls. Like, they are, oh my gosh, they're just like one of, they're together. They do not separate.
Absolutely.
They're just one of my favorite, like, characters in this whole, and I am desperate for a series about them. Like, I just want to know their story.
I mean, but do you really trust Rick to take the Stoles and do a story about them without absolutely ruining everything? I mean, they're like, I love them and I want more of them, but at the same time, they're like this world's version of the Weasley twins, and we know how that turned out.
I know. So sad. I know, I just need it.
There was, when Apollo called himself Fred, I started crying. Not really, but on the inside.
Oh, God.
So, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Melissa, and anyone else who joined us. It is about time for us to start wrapping this up. We've been on for an hour. Is there anything particular? Like, I know we talked about a lot of stuff, but is there anything that, before we should leave, was there anything that you wanted to talk about, Kenzie?
I don't believe so. I think we've covered just about everything.
Just about everything.
Everything that we can say.
Yeah, you're like, we talked about Percy. That's great. That's what we wanted.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So, all right. Well, then, hold on. Let me see if I can find the graphic that tells us when the next live show date is, because I don't know that off the top of my head. Actually, no, wait. I have the notebook sitting right next to me. Thank you for joining us, Melissa. Just so you guys know, if you are watching this, January 5th, I believe, is our next live show. It will probably be around this time, but we're not sure. We might have to change things. But we will be reading Battle of the Labyrinth and having fun with that one. This is one of my favorites.
Yes,
like second favorite in the series. Second favorite in the series, and it is my girl's book. In this series, it's my girl's book. So that's part of it.
Oh. I live and breathe Battle of the Labyrinth.
I mean, like, obviously, The Last Olympian is my favorite book, because usually my favorite book is the last book, but the Battle of the Labyrinth is a close second. But anyways, January 5th is our next live show. I hope we will see everyone there. Thank you so much for joining us. There was no prize pack this time because Christmas is coming and I am poor. But, Melissa, I will... tweet me at the word nerd. My Twitter link should be down below, and I might have something that I can send you. So just for thank you for joining in and for being so, what is the word? Oh my God. My brain just active in the chat and interacting with us.
Yeah, that was not what I was going to give you. So,
but yes. And we will see you guys later. Kenzie, anything you want to say before we sign off?
No. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Yeah, see ya.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, guys. Thank you. Goodbye. We will see you next time.